Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we saw one of the biggest shakeups in the entire gaming universe go and happened only a few hours ago, and I want to go and talk to you guys all about it. Now, this also is involving some of the biggest gaming companies in the entire planet, and sometimes seeing this type of stuff kind of throws people for a loop. And I myself are kind of included because, as you guys know, we've been watching Microsoft have the attempted acquisition of Activision Blizzard, but well, funny enough, the CMA, or basically like European type side, have been a little bit more on the skeptical end when it comes if this deal should go through, if it's legal, if it's monopoly laws, or everything else in between. And apparently, as of right now, Microsoft is selling something to try now to go and solidify the deal. Another big major company, aka Ubisoft, is now on the big market. There's brand new stuff on the way. We're gonna go talk about it. It's kind of some pretty big deal. Hope you guys will stay tuned. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. If you guys are bored, we'll play either showing up on Twitch or gonna be watching the Gamescom or just vibing. So check that out down below. And of course, follow the Twitter too as well. And of course, just give me your thoughts and comments all down below. So, first and foremost, this is kind of a big one. As you guys know, Activision has been trying to get this deal to go through. Both Microsoft and them have been trying to go and scheme up everything, but there's a really big partnership that just came out today. And this is all in regards now where Microsoft is announcing plans to sell Activision cloud gaming rights now to Ubisoft. Now, this is probably one of the biggest headlines we've had a chance to see so far, and also one of the more intriguing ones. So, the big idea, if you guys have missed it, the CMA and a lot of these types of just big government bodies have been very skeptical on three major reasons when it comes to Microsoft and Xbox performing through this Activision acquisition. This is in regards now to number one, the console gaming market. Basically, we've had a chance to go and see right now that the Switch and the PlayStation are kind of on their own and have been doing fine enough, and typically there isn't too much of a big issue when it comes to monopoly laws and all of that when it comes to Xbox. So that at least lets the deal go through. But two major big things that people are worried about are number one, the mobile market, and number two, especially the cloud gaming. Now, cloud gaming has been a big thing because Microsoft also has its own hosting company, and they have a chance to make a lot of money by hosting, like, say, various websites or various other types of game servers or whatever it may go and be for, well, games and game companies and other really big various companies. They make a lot of money, a lot of revenue from hosting. But the one big thing is hosting is very expensive. If you want to go do things like a Google Stadia, or even if Netflix does a streaming service, or even as of currently with, like, say, Game Pass and Game Pass streaming, or even PlayStation, etc., it's a very expensive process. You have to have data centers, you have to go and, well, have hosting 24/7. It's a very expensive cost, very data-driven. And that has been a big issue because when it comes to streaming, the streaming services and gaming industry is a very, very small and also very expensive market to dive on into. So a lot of regulators were very concerned about the idea if cloud gaming or cloud hosting or cloud game renting or Game Pass or whatever, if it might turn into too much of a mega, like, basically monopoly, and no one else can ever break into that. More so, think of small businesses, some big companies like an Apple or Google or even PlayStation. If they go and allocate the money for it, probably could afford it, although it may not be necessarily profitable for them, and they may lose a lot of money, which once it's just another side issue. But that was the big issue. Like, a lot of big companies are, well, afraid of monopolies. And we even saw Google, Apple, Sony obviously go and all complain about this big deal and acquisition. So what happened with this is Microsoft is now announcing their plans to now just so and sell the Activision cloud gaming rights to Ubisoft. As you guys know, Ubisoft has had their own streaming service, more so when it comes to Ubisoft Plus, and obviously is a pretty big major company when it comes to things like Assassin's Creed and other various big games that have been overall pretty well received. And this is a big one too because this is insane news. So Microsoft has announced today that in a bid to convince the UK Competition and Markets Authority to approve the attempted takeover of Activision Blizzard, because right now they still have not approved it, mind you, a major new cloud streaming deal has been struck now with Ubisoft. Basically, Microsoft is transferring the cloud streaming rights for all current and future Activision games, console, and PC titles for the next 15 years to the company itself, which will also result in them becoming available then on Ubisoft Plus. This is insane. So Ubisoft Plus, this is just not a crossover I was expecting. Ubisoft Plus has been an okay product. I'll be honest, I signed up for it a few different times. It's really nice if you want to do like a brand new AAA game, let's say Assassin's Creed, and you play it for 1 month, you do the Ubisoft Plus, similar format to Game Pass. I'm sure it doesn't have the most active Ubisoft Plus members on the consistent month by month, but I'm sure when new games come out, people want to check it out and utilize it. And it is probably one of the only other big gaming companies that seem on the open end. It's not a major competitor. They still are, don't get me wrong, but like they don't seem like the biggest competitor towards, say, Xbox. PlayStation doesn't want to obviously host all these Activision games. Something like a Google probably would also not want to have that because they also have their own hosting and stuff like that. That's just not a good competition. Or they also were interested in Stadia 2 as well. But this means that Ubisoft Plus might have a chance now to utilize all these games if these deals go through. So here's Microsoft's Brad Smith on what this all means for Xbox going forward. Under the restructured transaction, Microsoft will not be in a position either to release Activision Blizzard games exclusively on its own cloud streaming service, Xbox Cloud Gaming, or to exclusively control the licensing terms of Activision Blizzard games for rival services. So they're essentially trying to, for layman's terms, trying to say Ubisoft is now in control. Ubisoft gets to make the call. They have this really proper partnership going on, and I'm assuming a lot of money involved too. And well, that basically means that it's kind of forcing a non-monopoly, if that makes sense. I think a very large majority, if these games are still available on Game Pass, and if this deal goes through, people would probably just be sticking on Game Pass. I myself would probably be sticking on Game Pass unless there's a big rival game like Assassin's Creed coming out in the same month, and then maybe I'd be like, okay, I'll do Ubisoft Plus for the month, which might be what they want. But this also kind of means that they have different licensing terms, which also may allow them to go and license out different things, let's say to like Netflix or other various companies too as well, which I'm not really sure how it's going to play out for PlayStation. I'm going to probably do a little bit more research throughout the day, maybe even make another video on that, because this is a really, really big, like this is a monumental changer, I think, in the gaming world. Maybe not instantaneously, but I think over time, this will be a very big one. And it also kind of like, once again, opens up the monopoly issues, where if they have another really big rival multi-billion-dollar company versus Microsoft's $1 trillion, but at least it does offer some sort of competition and also allow some sort of options, which is almost forcing a non-monopoly. And of course, we also have other things like PlayStation that'll be into streaming games, or say like Netflix too as well. So Smith says that the new agreement allows Ubisoft to innovate and encourage different business models in the licensing and pricing of these games on cloud streaming services worldwide. So this also, once again, probably means that they will have a chance to do pretty much anything. They have a chance to go and float around. They have a chance to maybe go and try to sell this to other various companies, or maybe think you have like a Google and they go and pay $1 billion to maybe have the gaming or streaming rights into maybe even a YouTube Plus. Like, I don't know. There's like, just throwing out some random ideas. And this might be really good because if say Microsoft owns all the rights, they could maybe be called a monopoly because they make all the money, they make all the decisions, they may turn down people. But if Ubisoft, like, they still technically may own Activision. Don't forget, Activision will probably still be getting a cut from that money because they're still their games, and I'm sure the streaming rights as well. Also means Activision's getting a cut, which in the end of the day, if Xbox buys it, that means that for the next 15 years, they will be getting a proper business cut. It's kind of a win-win for both companies. It's almost like, hey, your buddy owns a restaurant. That's cool. Oh, you have a random sausage company. That's cool. Oh, you can't go and sell sausage because, like, literally there's a sausage monopoly? Well, I can't have my own sausage store, but what about my one buddy? I'll just sell my sausages in his random restaurant, and we'll both win-win. He'll have new products to go and sell, and if people like it, they'll pay him money. His business will make money, and I'll still get my cut either way. And even though I can't go and make the 100% profits on my own sausage restaurant, my buddy's still giving me a cut, and life's still going good, and at least it's legal, and my business is still around. That was a really weird analogy. I don't think I've ever talked about sausage on my YouTube channel, but just whatever, this is what popped on in. They say the agreement with Ubisoft has been structured so that Microsoft will still acquire the rights needed to honor fully its legal obligations under its commitments to the European Commission, as well as its existing contractual obligations to other cloud gaming streaming services, including NVIDIA, Boostroid, Ubisoft, and Enware. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, too. Like, I think the only company I myself am fully aware of, I've recognized the name Boostroid and Ubisoft, but I also have only ever probably even seen people even casually mention NVIDIA for Shadow Play. So you guys can kind of tell still the streaming service is very, very new, which is why these big monopoly laws are still on top of this. So Ubisoft is now actively promoting the acquisition of Activision Blizzard cloud streaming titles on its website and social media, confirming that players will soon be able to play their favorite Ubisoft and Activision Blizzard games as part of the Ubisoft Plus service across PC, Xbox consoles, and Amazon Luna. And you guys can even see the official tweet over here, and it's going to probably get a lot more attention all throughout the days. In terms of what this means for the UK, I want to remind you guys, the UK still has not approved of this deal. But it also might be a nicer thing because this is one of the bigger kind of conflicting points when it came to the market. And, well, cloud streaming is now hopefully seeming fine. And same thing with Call of Duty, which is hopefully now seeming fine. And as well, mobile has never really been a big concern still for the FTC and other various government bodies. This might be really good for them. So, like I said, this is not confirmed. Like, they still want to reevaluate. They want to look at this stuff. This is kind of out of the blue a little bit for them. And they say this is not a green light. We will carefully and objectively assess the details of the restructured deal and its impact on competition, including including in light of third-party comments. Our goal has not changed. Any future decision on this new deal will ensure that the growing cloud gaming market continues to benefit from open and effective competition, driving innovation and choice. So this is nuts. This is probably one of the bigger gaming news we'll see in a very long time, and it seems like Ubisoft Plus actually might be another new valid option for people to go check out games in the near future. So give me your thoughts and comments down below. Make sure you guys are subscribed. If you guys want to follow the Twitter and Twitch, would love to have you guys down there, and I'll see you guys all throughout today for probably another video later on.